Hi, Assalamualaikum. Today we're going to chapter 4 in production management. We will look into forecasting. Okay, the learning objective for this topic. Okay, we're going to look on the method that we use for forecasting, especially in the production management. They will be on the qualitative and also quantitative. Okay, what is forecasting is all about? It is about predicting the future event, okay, with the scientifically, and also there's a base, there's a calculation to do the prediction. And then by taking into the historical data and projecting them into the future. Okay, for example, we have the population, okay, the population that we predict by 2100 that we're going to have 11 billion people. So this one is the process of forecast. And also the example of the handphone shipment. So we know that going to be on an increasing trend upward. Okay, the forecast is used to predict the demand. Okay, and also sometimes you need to know the planning for raw materials and so on. Okay, forecasting time horizon is based on the short range, medium range, or the long range. Okay, for the short range, usually for short-term planning. Okay, up to 1 year or 3 months, and medium range forecast usually for sales, production planning. This is what we're going to look for. Okay, and it's mostly in monthly or maybe up to 3 years maximum. And then we have the long range forecast. This one is for the long term. For example, planning, like you're expanding your factory. Okay, you want to build a new factory and also coming up with a new product. Okay, type of forecasting. Basically, there's an economic forecast. Okay, we want to know the inflation rate, okay, the currency rate, and also the technological forecast, okay, to predict the next coming technology, especially for the new product. And the third one is the demand forecast. This is what we're going to look in this chapter. Okay, for our production management, we want to predict the sales, the demand, okay, the enrollment of the future event. Okay, these are the things that we have seen in chapter 2 in the plan location. Okay, which one is the part that we use forecasting? 65,000 is the one that we forecasted, that we predicted the sales or the demand for the doors next year or the coming years. Okay, we use that forecast data. And also for this question, okay, where is the forecast data? The 12,000 units per year expected quantity. We expect that next year going to be 12,000 units on the demand. Okay, and then why is it important to have forecasting in the management, okay, in the factory? Because for the human resource, how many people that we're going to hire? Okay, we will plan out like a month how many workers that we need to have in our factory to work. We don't do it every day. Okay, today we have 10, tomorrow we have 15. No, we always plan ahead. The capacity, okay, what are the order that we need to give to the supplier on the raw material? How many eggs you want to buy? How many butter and so on? So you need to do the planning, okay, on the capacity. And then supply chain management is very important for forecasting data, because they want to know what are the customer demand, what are the requests from the supplier and so on. So all of these need to use the forecast data. Okay, in forecasting, there's two approaches. The first one is quantitative. This is the one that we're going to look deeper into this chapter. In which we use calculation. We use historical data. We will use mathematical technique and formula. Okay, especially calculating of demand of PC, let's say demand of cars. Okay, so all of these we will do the calculation. Okay, the other one is qualitative. Qualitative, they don't have data. Usually, they have a very little data on the previous. Okay, so maybe this one for new technology, new product that not yet been widely used in the world right now. So usually they use the experience, the institution in which they use the instinct. Okay, usually by the expert in the field. Okay, so there's no calculation, there's no formula. All right. Okay, let's go into the quantitative that you're going to learn. There's two category. The first one is time series model. Okay, we base on the month, year, and there's a 4 method that you need to know, in which we have the naive, moving average, the weighted moving average, and exponential. And then there's another category we call associative model, in which we use linear trend. Okay, and linear trend, on associative model, we only look at the linear trend. Okay, these are the time series. What we're gonna look into this kind of forecast. Okay, we're gonna look at the trend. Okay, overall persistent, we want to see it going upward like this one, or downward. For sales, we are looking for upward trend. Okay, if your sales is going downward, it's not a good sign at all. Okay, seasonal component, we want to know if there's a pattern, okay, in the demand. Usually, sometimes it based on the weather, okay, on maybe on the festive season. Okay, for example, if you have cookies and you're making cookies and cake, so during the festive season, your demand will be double or triple. And also the cyclical component, this one usually for long term, is more on the business cycle, okay, economical, so they have the cyclic pattern. Okay, usually they have the associative relationship. And the last one is the irregular and random component. Okay, this one is like haywire. It's unsystematic. So because there are lots of randomness in this system. For example, road accident. It's hard to predict the road accident. Maybe during the festive season, orang balik kampung, yeah, it will have some impact there. Okay. Okay, these are the method that we're going to look into further. Okay, let's start with the Naïve approach. This is very easy, very basic, in which it's no need calculation. Okay, just a simple look and see, and usually it cannot provide the high accuracy. Okay, for example, we have this January to June. Okay, this is the actual. So we want to predict the forecast. So what they will use, they use the previous month forecast. Okay, so for January, this is the actual. So for forecast, they will use the previous month forecast. So for February, they will use the January, and then for forecast for February, for March, they will use the February one. Okay, bring it here. And then for April, they will use the March one. Okay, you just use the previous month data. It's very simple. Okay, the next one, we're going to do the averaging or purata. Okay, we will look into the moving average method. Okay, this one is the most common that we will use. All right, and usually n is the number of month or years, usually month. Yeah, how many months? Moving average 3 months, so n will be 3. Moving average 4 months, moving average, so the n gonna be 4. Okay, for this example, it want you to give 3 months moving average. So 3 months moving average, how to calculate? Can you use 3 months starting from January? No, because you don't have the previous data. February, can you predict for 3 months average? No. Can you do March? No, because you don't have the 3 months data above you. So you only can start April because you have the data for March, February and January. So how to calculate the 3 months average for April? You by using the January data, February data, March data and divide by 3 because they want the 3 months moving average. So you will get 11.67, and remember this is shed. Shed is the type of shelter, yeah, so it must be round up. You cannot sell 11.67, so you need to round up. Even though it's 11.01, you need to round up. Okay, let's do for May. For May, we're going to use the data from February, March and April. They need to use the data just above them. Okay, so for May, we're going to use data from, okay, from where? From February 12, and then we have March 13, and then we have April 16 divided by 3. Again, if you have not a round number, you need to round up. Okay, and for June, which data you're going to use? You're going to use the data from March, April and May. Okay, and for July, you will use the data from April, May and June. If they say they want 4 months moving average, so you will use the 4 months above. Okay. All right. What is the difference between weighted moving average? Okay. Weighted is to use when there's trend present. Okay. Present on the, we can see it on the data. Okay. There's a trend. So the difference is you need to have weight. Okay, weight, and also the formula also different, in which you will use the sum of weight. You don't use the number of months. Okay, let's look at this example. Just like the one that I showed you just now, but this one they have the weight applied. So last month means that bulan terdekat daripada yang dia nak predict. So kalau dia April, bulan terdekat dengan dia adalah March. Okay, so kita akan guna 3 untuk bulan yang atas je sahaja. Okay, so for 2 pula, okay, dia guna weight untuk 2 months ago. So kalau di April, dia akan guna untuk bukan March, February. Okay, and then untuk 1 yang markah paling kecil usually untuk bulan yang paling jauh. So yang ni untuk 3 weight sebab dia bagi 3, 2, 1. Depends. Untuk moving average, untuk weighted moving average, kita kena kira berapa weight yang diberi. Kalau untuk moving average tadi, dia akan tengok months yang diberi. Okay, so kat sini ada 3 weight. So, soalan dia kata 3 months weightage moving average. So, dia bagi 3 weight. Kita kena sum the weight dulu sebab akan dibahagikan nanti. So, Januari boleh buat tak? Tak boleh. Februari tak boleh sebab dia tak ada data atas dia. March boleh buat tak? Tak boleh. So, bila kita boleh start? Kita boleh start April sahaja. Sebab April ada data daripada March, February and January. Okay. So, macam mana nak kira? How to calculate? These are the weight, the green one. So, remember I told you that bulan terdekat dengan April, dia akan darab dengan 3. So, in this case, March darab dengan 3. And then 2 is for February. And then 1 untuk January. So, kenapa bagi 6? Sebab the formula said divide by sum of weight. Okay, you dapat 12.16. Again, kena round up. Round up, always round up. Okay, let's do for May. Untuk May, dia akan guna data April, March, February. So, April guna darab dengan berapa? Darab dengan 3. March darab dengan 2. February darab dengan 1. Okay, and divide by 6. Untuk Jun pula, kita akan guna data mana? May, April, March. And then nak darab macam mana? May akan darab dengan 3, April akan darab dengan 2, March akan darab dengan 1. So, you do the same thing for July. Okay, nampak tak perbezaan moving average and weighted moving average? Okay, and again, you need to round up. Okay, these are the, for moving average, data dia, kata forecast dia tak berapa tepat sangat. Okay, dan dia tak sensitive to changes and dia perlukan data yang banyak. Let's say 4 months moving average. So you perlu data 4 bulan sebelum tu. Kalau 3 months, 3 bulan sebelum tu. So you need a lot of historical data. Okay. Alright, kita akan tengok common measure error. Okay, common measure error ni untuk apa? Untuk membezakan antara actual dengan data kita forecast. Okay, lagi kecil measure of error kalau kecil lagi bagus. So we are looking for the most minimum error. That's the best. Okay. Usually kita ada 3 jenis iaitu MAD, okay, MSE and juga MAPE, MAPE. Okay. All of these have different formula. Okay. So how to do this? Let's see on this explanation about MAD.
Welcome to this forecasting series. In this video, we'll be calculating moving averages and we'll also be computing error measures. The error measures we'll be calculating are the mean absolute deviation, the mean squared error, and the mean absolute percent error. We'll be using this historical sales data here, collected over a period of 7 weeks. We will be calculating 3-week moving averages and also compute a moving average forecast for week 8. We start by calculating the moving average for the 4th week. That is, we average the sales values for the first 3 weeks to produce a moving average forecast for week 4. Thus, the moving average forecast for week 4 is 39 plus 44 plus 40 divided by 3, which gives 41. Next, we average weeks 2, 3, and 4 sales to obtain the moving average forecast for week 5. That is 44 plus 40 plus 45 divided by 3, which gives 43. For week 6, the moving average is from weeks 3, 4, and 5. That is 40 plus 45 plus 38 divided by 3, which gives 41. For week 7, it is 45 plus 38 plus 43 divided by 3, which gives 42. And finally, the moving average forecast for week 8 is 38 plus 43 plus 39 divided by 3, which gives 40. Next, we calculate the forecast errors. Forecast errors are calculated as actual values minus corresponding forecast values. Since weeks 1 to 3 have no forecast values, we begin calculating errors in week 4. Thus, week 4 error is 45 minus 41, which equals 4. Week 5 error is 38 minus 43, which equals negative 5. For week 6, it is 43 minus 41, which equals 2. And for week 7, it is 39 minus 42, which equals negative 3. Next, we calculate the mean absolute deviation or error. Note that error and deviation are used interchangeably. The 2 bars around error here denote absolute values. That is, return a positive value whether the original value is positive or negative. So the absolute value of 4 is 4, the absolute value of negative 5 is 5, for 2 it is 2, and for negative 3 it is 3. To find the mean absolute deviation, MAD or MAE, we simply average these absolute errors. First, we sum up the absolute errors and divide the total by 4, since there are only 4 errors. The total is 14, and the MAD is 14 divided by 4, which gives 3.5. Next, we calculate the mean squared error. In this case, we first square the errors and then average them. Since the square of negative values is always positive, we can simply square the absolute errors. Hence, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, 2 squared is 4, and 3 squared is 9. The total of these squared errors is 54, and the mean squared error is 54 divided by 4, which gives 13.5. Finally, let us calculate the mean absolute percent error. The absolute percent error is a measure of the error as a percentage of actual values. To obtain the absolute percent error, we simply divide the absolute errors by the actual sales values and multiply by 100%. For week 4, the absolute percent error is calculated as 4 divided by 45 times 100%, and that gives 8.89%. And for week 5, 5 divided by 38 times 100%, which gives 13.16%. For week 6, 2 divided by 43, which gives 4.65%. And finally, for week 7, it is 3 divided by 39, which gives 7.69%. The sum of these absolute errors is 34.39%, and on dividing it by 4, we obtain the mean absolute percent error of 8.60%. And that's pretty much how to calculate moving averages and forecast error measures. Please leave a comment.
Okay, so that's the example on the moving average, and you need to do the error measurement. Okay, next video I'll show you on the weightage moving average with MAD.